lifting lessons that I've had to repeat multiple times to learn. And honestly, to some extent, I'm still repeating them because I'm a normal human who basically repeats the patterns that, that keep me stuck. The first is not trusting the program and understand that generally, like, I'm the problem. It's not necessarily like the program that I'm running that's the problem, because honestly, there's no perfect program. The big thing that I keep going back to is that you have to know what you want and what you're chasing to really execute a program well. And that requires a lot of introspection and like patience. And most of us, when we start training, we just want to get strong fast. We want to get fit fast. We want to be jacked fast. And while that can happen, most of that is just a product of showing up consistently, training relatively hard, and then letting the rest of the process just happen. People kind of force things, and that tends to backfire on them. So being patient and understanding like what you really want really goes a long way. In this season of life, like what I really want is to have fun training. I'm gonna have a kid in the near future, and I just want to be able to be as consistent as possible. And honestly, it's so wild because yes, I have objective things that I want to get better at, but by just like embracing the process and taking it slow, like I'm actually making like pretty good progress with a few things, overcoming a few other injuries and whatnot, but I'm learning to dial it in, which is huge. The second big thing is that one bad day or a week or even like a month, even a training cycle that doesn't go super well isn't the best way to like gauge, if you're actually on the right path. I would say like if you have a really bad month and you can look at your sleep and you can look at your nutrition and you can look at your health and be like, hey, that stuff was relatively on point, then yeah, we really do need to address the variables of your program. This probably applies most to one bad day is not something to get too in the dumps about. A bad week, maybe we adjust, maybe we make some changes to some variables. Maybe we just really dig into what that week looked like from an overall stress standpoint. Same thing with a month. If we can usually start to assess what's going on and just like look at things objectively, we're going to course correct. But where a lot of people go wrong and where I have gone wrong is having a bad day and just getting too frustrated. You're going to have crummy training days, just like you're going to have really good days. Most of them are going to be relatively average, and that's okay. So just remember that deviations in performance are normal because you're a human. And zoom out. That bad day you had is often way better than your best day sometime in the past. Greed makes us poor. It should make sense, but it typically doesn't because humans are very greedy. But this is both a fiscal principle, but it's also a physical principle. When you try to push too much, when you try to take more than you can or than you should, you're going to have pushback in the form of more moans and groans, potential injury, decreased performance. All right. The hardest part about training is kind of finding that bandwidth of this is productive and this is going to take me where I want to go from a training standpoint. And this is not productive, right? This is too much. You're just literally beating yourself into a pulp. There's also a mental component of this. I really do think humans can tolerate a lot of work if they're really into it, if they want to do it, right? You see this with athletes, you see it in like training, like military training, like people will find something deep down inside when they have an objective goal that they're trying to achieve. And that can be really powerful. But in the long term, a lot of times when we get greedy, when we start to push more than we are capable of recovering from, when we don't sleep well, when we don't eat well, when we do too much in too short a period of time, we get some clapback, right? So it's a really hard skill to learn to pull back appropriately. And it's really hard to learn how to push without pushing too hard. And you always want to be thinking about that, trying to make a little bit of progress, stimulate, don't annihilate, leave a little bit of room in the tank, because typically we are going to be able to continue to train for a long time if we keep showing up and training well. So those are some of the big pitfalls that I have worked through and I'm continuing to work through, because lessons will be repeated until they are learned. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you. Peace.